What would you do if your family that forgot you existed for years suddenly showed up at your dream lake house? With 2 moving trucks, a wedding planner, and forged paperwork claiming it was family property for your sister's perfect wedding. They didn't come with apologies. They came with entitlement. And they had no idea I'd been waiting for that exact moment. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Thompson. I'm 34 years old, and for most of my life, I was the invisible daughter in a family that prided itself on looking perfect from the outside. My parents, Richard and Diane, came from that classic upper-middle-class upstate New York world. Country club memberships, annual ski trips to Aspen, private schools for my younger sister Madison. They loved posting family photos where everyone was smiling in matching sweaters. But if you looked closely at those pictures, you'd notice one thing. There was always a missing seat at the table. Mine. I was the reliable one. The one who got good grades without drama, who worked summer jobs while Madison got new cars because she needed motivation. Holidays. Christmas meant me showing up with gifts I couldn't really afford only to hear, "Oh honey, we thought you were working late again." Birthdays. We figured you'd be too busy with your little corporate job. It wasn't loud abuse. It was quieter, colder, the kind of neglect that makes you question if you even belong in your own family. They judged everything I did through this lens of class and appearances. "Emily's so practical," Mom would say with that tight smile, like practicality was a flaw compared to Madison's sparkle and endless need for attention. Dad would pat my shoulder and say, "You'll understand when you have real responsibilities." As if building my own life from scratch didn't count as responsibility. By my late 20s, I was done performing for their approval. I moved to Boston for a demanding marketing job, grinding through 60-hour weeks, saving every bonus. No trust fund. No safety net. Just me, late nights, and the quiet dream of owning something that was truly mine. Something they couldn't rewrite or claim as family. Last year, after closing a major campaign that finally gave me financial breathing room, I found it. A historic 1920s lake house on a quiet cove in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. Stone fireplace, wraparound porch overlooking the water, private dock, surrounded by woods that made the rest of the world feel far away. It wasn't flashy or Instagram perfect. It was peaceful, solid, everything my childhood home pretended to be but never delivered. I bought it through a revocable trust with layers of privacy protection. I didn't tell a soul in my family. I changed my mailing address, locked down social media, and kept my life boring and untraceable on purpose. For the first time, I had a place where silence felt like safety, not punishment. I spent weekends fixing it up quietly. Sanding old wood, planting a small garden, sitting by the lake with coffee, finally hearing my own thoughts without someone asking why I wasn't more like Madison. That peace lasted until Madison announced her engagement to a finance guy from her elite circle. The wedding was going to be the event of the season, $80,000 budget, influencers invited, the whole performative show. And that's when the shocking shift happened. 3 weeks before the wedding, my phone started blowing up with texts from cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. "Oh, your lake house looks amazing. Perfect venue." How did they know? An old tagged photo from a local preservation society event had slipped through. Someone recognized the unique stonework and boathouse. Suddenly, my forgotten status vanished. Mom called first, voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Emily, darling, we've been so worried about you isolating yourself up there. But this is wonderful. Madison's wedding needs a scenic backdrop for the photos and guest overflow. Family helps family, right?" Dad followed with the judgment. "You've done well for yourself, but let's be realistic. This house is too big for one person. Your sister is building a real-life marriage, future grandkids. You owe it to the family that supported you." Supported me? The same family that mocked my basic career while funding Madison's endless passions? The class tension was thick. In their eyes, my hard-earned success was cute, but Madison's lifestyle, the one that required constant funding and validation, was important. They saw my lake house not as my achievement, but as a resource they could repurpose to maintain their image of the perfect, generous family. I stayed calm on the calls. I said no. Politely at first. Then firmly. They didn't hear no. They heard negotiable. Wedding weekend arrived. I was at the lake house alone enjoying the quiet when I heard the engines. 2 large moving trucks, a luxury SUV, and a van with event coordination on the side rolled up the long driveway. No call. No knock. Just entitlement arriving in convoy. Mom stepped out first in her cream cashmere coat, looking like she was arriving for a photo shoot. Dad had that reasonable businessman expression he used to guilt people. Madison trailed behind with her fiancé, already directing where to set up floral arches. Behind them, movers unloading tables, chairs, lighting rigs, and even a temporary dance floor. A woman in heels, the wedding planner, barked orders like she owned the place. I walked down to the dock area, heart pounding but voice steady. "What are you doing here?" Mom smiled, that pained, delicate smile she reserved for when she wanted sympathy. "Sweetheart, don't make this difficult. We've driven hours. The venue we booked fell through last minute, something about permits. Your little house is perfect. Madison deserves a beautiful day, and family shares." Dad pulled out folded paperwork. A family shared use agreement with language about holiday and event rights, guest overflow, and most insulting, a version of my signature that was close enough to fool strangers. "You agreed to this months ago when we discussed helping your sister," he said calmly, as if gaslighting was normal conversation. Class judgment hit hard. "You've always been so independent, Emily. Almost selfishly so. Now it's time to contribute to something bigger than yourself." Bigger meaning their curated image of wealth and tradition. I felt the old loneliness crash over me. Every empty chair, every "we thought you were busy," every subtle dig that I wasn't real family material. But this time it fueled something different, resolve. What they didn't know was that I'd seen this coming the moment the first text arrived. I had quietly prepared. Security cameras with cloud backup, motion activated, covering every angle. My attorney on speed dial. A sharp woman who specialized in trust and property law. Local zoning knowledge. The lake house sat in a protected residential historic district with strict rules against commercial events and large gatherings without permits. A folder with timestamps of every dismissive text, every gaslighting call, and proof the signature was forged. I had even invited 2 trusted local neighbors for coffee that afternoon. A retired judge and someone on the preservation board, credible witnesses. While they unloaded, I started recording openly. Mom's smile faltered. "Why are you filming your own family?" "Because family doesn't arrive with moving trucks and fake documents." The wedding planner looked uncomfortable as I calmly explained the trust ownership made the agreement invalid on its face. Dad tried the reasonable tone. "This is just a misunderstanding. Let's not embarrass everyone." Madison snapped. "You've always been jealous. This is my day." The class undertone was clear. My quiet success threatened their narrative that only the sparkly sibling deserved the spotlight and resources. I called the sheriff's department the moment the first table hit my dock without permission. Then I let my attorney join via speakerphone. The deputy arrived just as movers started setting up on the lawn. Tension was electric. Mom turned on the tears for the officer. "Our daughter has been isolating herself. She's not well. We're just trying to help with the wedding." But the evidence was overwhelming. Video of unauthorized entry and unloading, invalid forged agreement with trust documents emailed instantly to the deputy, zoning violations explained clearly by my attorney. No event permit, no commercial use allowed. Witnesses confirming I lived there alone and never consented. One of the movers quietly told the deputy this felt like a planned occupation. The deputy shifted. No more family dispute leniency. He ordered them to stop unloading and start packing up. Madison had a full meltdown in front of her fiancé, screaming that I was ruining her life. Dad looked genuinely stunned, like consequences were new to him. Mom's perfect facade cracked as she hissed, "After everything we've done for you." I stepped forward, voice steady for the first time in years. "Everything you did came with strings. Real family doesn't break in with trucks. Real family doesn't judge your success as a threat." That night, after the dust settled and the temporary gate repair was done, I sat alone by the fireplace with a glass of wine. The lake was calm outside. For the first time, the quiet didn't feel lonely, it felt earned. A few days later, Mom sent a long message trying partial reconciliation. "We were stressed about the wedding. We love you. Let's move past this." Dad called once, sounding smaller, hinting at family therapy. Madison never apologized. Just posted vague social media about toxic people ruining special days. I chose boundaries, not full reconciliation. I replied once. Love isn't trucks and forged signatures. When you're ready to treat me with basic respect. No judgment, no entitlement, we can talk. Until then, the lake house stays mine, and my peace stays protected. Some relationships mended lightly with distant cousins who saw the truth. But with my immediate family? Clear lines. No more performing for their approval. No more being the afterthought. Looking back, the real wealth isn't the stone walls or the lake view. It's the humility to recognize when you've wounded someone, and the kindness to value them beyond what they can provide for your image. My family chased performative status, the big wedding, the curated photos, the illusion of closeness. But real wealth? It's building something honestly, protecting your peace without guilt, and understanding that blood doesn't grant automatic access to what you've bled for. Entitlement turns family into landlords who think they own your life. Humility and genuine kindness build bridges that last. If this story hit home, if you've ever been the forgotten one, or watched entitlement destroy relationships, drop your experience in the comments. What would you have done when the trucks showed up? Would you have let them stay for family? Hit like if you believe peace is worth protecting. Subscribe for more stories of quiet strength and boundaries that actually work. Thank you for listening all the way through. Your time means more than you know. Until next time, protect what you've built. You deserve it.